He called it the biggest eyesore in the entire state. Take a look behind me. This is how the buildings looked for the last year. This is one of the remaining homeless camps here in Des Moines. As you can see, lots of tents, lots of clothing items, towels. Right behind me, 80 or so train cars taken right off the tracks. Officials say it wasn't a tornado that did this, but in fact straight line winds. Todd and Laura, to give you an idea, we're just off Main Street and this is Roy Street right now. We're just a stone's throw from that high school. This is the damage that authorities say a Matthew Henrik Jr. caused by backing his car into the store. He used a Type 3 vest, but what does that mean and how do you secure them exactly? Call it a domestic dispute taken to the road. It all ended up here on East 26th and University. Another reason gas prices are so low, people are driving less and they're driving more fuel-efficient vehicles. Now, the TSA doesn't want to see items like this multi-tool in your carry-on. You can still bring it to the airport, though, as long as you put it in a checked bag. Senator Warren came to the stage proclaiming Bruce Braley will fight for people's values. And Misha's mom, Donna, says she's just glad her daughter's killer is no longer on the streets.
Yeah, it was quite a morning. Yeah.
It was early Thursday morning at the Good and Quick convenience store when 38-year-old Matthew Henrik does what no one expects.
All of a sudden, one of my guys yells, "Here he comes," and he just floored it and came right through the door and just missed one of my customers by maybe a foot or so.
Wasn't what I was expecting when I got up this morning, I can tell you that.
You can call Lonnie Clark a regular at Good and Quick.
Little town, you talk about the guy that isn't here mostly.
He was here for his regular stop and chat Thursday when he came literally inches.
Maybe 4 inches, 6 inches, something like that.
From being struck. Take a look at the tire tracks compared to where Lonnie was standing.
I turned around about that time he was hitting the door, so I jumped over here, and he come right in with us.
So then he just guns it, pulls out.
Next, Henrik accelerates out the door, fleeing the scene, but not without Lonnie Clark.
When he took off, that's when I took off after him. There could have been people dead right here, and you don't care. And I don't know, something just, it made me aggravated.
Lonnie chased Henrik to a street corner where he was then pursued by Nevada police. Charlie's doorway, it's seen better days. Just a few hours later, a temporary door is installed.
I guess an easy way to make a drive-through window.
Charlie's doorway might be gone, but his sense of humor remains.
We're open. We're really open.
And for Lonnie, it's a routine stop and chat he won't soon forget.
I feel sorry for his family because I'm sure the kid's got a lot of problems, but he's got a lot more now.
A couple hundred people filled the Valley High School cafeteria to celebrate what would have been a new year for Brandon and to remember a life cut short. Happy birthday to you. It was a birthday unlike any other the Ellingson family had celebrated before.
The Ellingson family and friends truly miss his huge smile, his kind heart.
The birthday turned vigil was one where many couldn't hold back the tears.
I tried to read it a couple times, I just broke down crying.
Brandon's father included, leaving the words to be spoken by his attorney.
And until we meet again, rest in peace, Brandon, and happy birthday.
It's tough.
A candlelight vigil featuring Brandon's favorite song.
He had played that just prior to him, tragically passing.
A song lasting 4.5 minutes, the same amount of time Brandon spent in the water, played at the exact time it happened.
It's almost like he knew something we didn't.
Crowds were clad in number 30 t-shirts, Brandon's football number, with a reminder to never forget.
Just real humble to see all the people and support that we have.
Support not only from longtime friends.
Brandon was a great kid. He was a kid of great integrity. He was a kid who got along with everybody.
But also acquaintances made the day of the tragedy, like witness Leda Moreau, who says the trooper had several times he could have saved Brandon's life.
I'm a mom, and the fact that a fellow mother has lost her child to something that's so unavoidable is, there's no words.
For Brandon's father, Craig, it's about remembering and finding the motivation to move on, something he can't quite fathom yet.
I've got a daughter, so I've got a business to run, so I have a life to live, and so I'm trying to do the best I can to move forward.
It's something most boys acquire early in life. A toy track with toy cars. But the day Randy Belding got one for his son Jay,
we just simply could not make it work.
Began with frustration.
He was a little disappointed.
It took a process of trial and error, but finally, Randy and Jay had a working track.
He drops the car and it goes through the loops twice.
But as with many young boys,
He just looks at me and says, "Thanks, Dad," and walks away.
boredom set in.
This is a little disappointing.
But for Randy,
It just hit me.
boredom made him realize the actual fun was in the assembly.
Hey, we both had a lot more fun figuring out how to make it work than actually watching the car go through the loops.
And so Blue Track was born.
You make the fun.
So when the neighbors started borrowing the track and some of the parents asked if they could buy some, we kind of figured we had something.
Since then, the Create Your Own Racetrack has found success. With its infinite number of outcomes of loops, turns, and obstacles, it's attracted hundreds to submit their own examples through YouTube.
I put 2 loops in it.
But as Blue Track has grown, so has Randy's son Jay, now 15 years old and in high school. And while he may now be too old for toy cars, his creativity lives on.
And when I get older, I'd like to do something like he does.
Flowers or chocolate? Flowers
Flowers are a big deal.
or chocolate?
It's the single busiest day of the year.
There are really only 2 answers to choose from, right? Well, maybe jewelry. So how can you be more original? Well, there's chocolate you can write on and chocolate in a cup.
It's actually a molten cake with pudding in the middle.
And flowers come in different colors. Is that creative?
That smells so good.
I'm stumped. So if you're stumped like me,
We met on a blind date 40 years ago.
you go to the right source.
But you need to know your spouse. And Valentine's Day is a great starting place.
Dr. Gary and Bob Rosberg have been helping out couples for decades through syndicated radio shows and podcasts. And while they say flowers or chocolates are great, even little things like love letters or something as simple as an email or text message can go a long way.
I know that Barb keeps those. And those are keepsakes that she will be able to share long after I'm gone, to be able to go back and to remember.
Starting Valentine's Day right from the beginning doesn't hurt either. Begin the day with a phone message and go from there.
When a man steps out of his comfort zone, does something to show his wife that he more than loves her, more than honors her, he cherishes her, he celebrates her.
But most importantly, know your mate and know what they like and just put some thought into it, even if it involves something as simple as flowers.
This one's called Wild Thing.
Or chocolate.
I don't make chocolate, I make happiness.
To get up and say, I am so lucky to be married to you. Those words and the kind relationship and that people have with each other is what really makes it fun.